love into the family. He pours love into the home, so His love can overflow into the world. I want to spend my life mending broken people. I want to spend my life removing pain. Lord, let my words heal a heart that hurts. I want to spend my life mending broken people, so His love can overflow into the world.
God bless you and welcome back to Three Angels Broadcasting Network, and thanks again for joining us for another 3ABN Presents program. You know, love is not what you do, it's what you are. And since all of us are made differently, we're all unique individuals, we've got something different to share. We love people in different ways. And I have to say that our guest today, Barbara Kerr, she loves people in a very unique way. The Lord has given her a gift of taking His food, vegetarian food, and making marvelous recipes that are not just good for you, but they taste good too. And the recipes that she's going to be sharing today are tofu pasta pie, summer fruit charlotte, dill potato salad, crispy asparagus straws, black raspberry Danish braids, hibiscus cooler, and ice bowls. So you're going to want to get your pen and paper ready to jot down these recipes, and I'll tell you right off at the top of this program that if you can't write them down fast enough, please give us a call here at 1-800-752-3226, and we will be more than happy to send you these tasty recipes. So please stay with us. You know, history records that more than 100 years ago, that a preacher once said to his helpers, "Let's go to the village nearby and preach to them about Jesus." And as they walked to the village, the preacher met someone else who was walking his same direction. And this man just seemed so depressed and unhappy. The preacher was in no hurry, so he walked with the man until they reached the village. And by the time they got there, the depressed man had a smile on his face. And then the preacher proceeded to visit with the shopkeepers, and he spent time with the farmers by their fruit and vegetable carts. And he played a few games with the children that were running around. And as the pastor and his helpers finally made his way close to the church, they met a farmer with a load of hay who stopped the preacher and just had to discuss a problem with him. And by the time the preacher finished with the farmer, it was so late in the day and it was time to go home. So they started on that path, on that road for home. And one of the helpers was just so greatly disappointed that they didn't accomplish what they had set out to do that day. And he said, "Brother Francis, you said that you were going to preach, and now the day is gone and no sermon has been preached today." And then the pastor smiled and said, "But brother, we have been preaching all the way." And I have to say that's the truth. We don't have to get up in a pulpit to preach a sermon. If we take the name Christian, our lives are a sermon. And someone once said, "A Christian is a mind through which Christ thinks, a heart through which Christ loves, a voice through which Christ speaks, and a hand through which Christ helps." Philippians chapter 2, beginning with verse 3 says, "Let each esteem others as better than themselves. Look not every man on his own things, but every man also on the things of others. Let this mind be in you, which was also in Jesus Christ." You know, if God speaks it, that means it can happen. If we open our hearts to the miracle, if God said it, we need to believe it. And this text says that we can think like Jesus, and that means that we can care like Jesus too. Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Father, in Jesus' name, we just come before you today, praising your name. For Lord, we realize that all the things that you instruct us to do in your word, you're also giving us the strength and the power to do it according to your Holy Spirit, living and dwelling and breathing in us. And we just pray, Father, that you will carve in our hearts a bigger place for that Holy Spirit to dwell and breathe and live through us. I pray, Father, that you will give us a heart of compassion for those around us. Give us seeing eyes to see what you would have us to do in our day-to-day situations. Give us hearing ears that we may be able to discern your voice calling us at a moment's notice. And Lord, we just thank you for the privilege of being your servants on this earth, because you are so worthy. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Well, at this time, we have a very special blessing in store for you. John Lomaking has a very beautiful song to share that's entitled All of Me. So at this time, I'd like to invite you to come on into our living room and listen as he sings.
I'm just a man, no more. Maybe not what you've been hoping for. Make mistakes, God knows. But I've always tried for something more. If I try to explain, but my words don't come that easy for me. Listen patiently, then you'll know what I'm trying to say. All of my life, all of my love, all that I'm ever dreaming of, all of my strength, all of my weakness, these are all the things that I have to give. All of me. Sometimes a fool, sometimes wise, just like a child. When I look in your eyes, I see the future, I see the past. Now I know just what I really had. With the words in my head, they always seem to get in the way. Just one tear-filled glance, then you'll know just what I'm trying to say. All of my life, all of my love, all that I'm ever dreaming of, all of my strength, all of my weakness, these are all the things that I have to give. All of me. All of my life, all
Welcome back to the 3ABN Kitchen, where, as always, we are cooking veggie style. And I'm so thankful to have my friend Barbara Kerr back.
Thank you, Linda.
Welcome back.
Thank you. I love cooking in your kitchen.
All right.
And we have some great recipes today.
And these are recipes that you have developed yourself with the Lord's help.
That's right.
And in fact, you're coming out with a brand new cookbook. And this cookbook is going to make a lot of people so happy. Tell us about it.
Oh, I am so excited about the cookbook. So you know, I've for 3 years have been working on making recipes for you here at 3ABN, Linda. And people have been so sweet and just really wanting a cookbook now, and I just really need to have my cookbook done. So this project, I'm so excited about. It's finally coming to fruition. I have got my feet in the water waiting for it to part. I've stepped out in faith because I'm a ministry, and you know it takes a lot of money to put a cookbook together, but I know God knows where the finances are coming from. But when I get home within a week, we're going to be shooting photography for the cookbook because I want this book to go to everyone. I want it to go into the world where people are sick, they don't know where to turn, they don't know how to eat healthfully, and I just really have a burden for those people, and I just feel that is just where God has been leading. So it should be ready August 1st for ASI. That's my deadline if everything goes on schedule, and they'll be able to get it on my website, which we'll show at the end of the program today, and ABC stores and different places like that. So
Good.
I'm really excited.
Well, maybe what we could do is put the address up now, plus at the end of the program.
That's a good idea.
So if you are interested in helping contribute to the printing costs of this much desired cookbook, you can write to Barbara at Taste of Health Ministries, P.O. Box 38, Gaston, South Carolina, 29053, or you can give her a call, 803-936-1714. I know I am looking forward to my own personal autographed copy.
That's funny. You can have 10.
Okay.
So one for everyone and give them out. So that'll be great. Thank you. And I just, you know, I'm already working on the second cookbook.
Really?
So once we get the first one done and then there's money to, you know, get the next one done, they should click off a lot faster.
All right.
So I'm excited. But we have wonderful recipes for you today. We are doing bridal shower brunch.
Well, how did you come up with a bridal shower brunch? Is it because we're in the wedding season?
Yes, that, and I've been asked to do a little cooking for a bridal shower that's coming up. And most ladies have a brunch type of activity, and they like chick food, which is, you know, real pretty.
Fussy food.
Yeah, fussy recipes. And there's a real demand for something that you can just serve for any kind of fancy dinner or not so fancy dinner. You've got a little bit of both, but they're excellent recipes, and I think that you really can like them. They look good, and a few people that I've had sampled them really like them. So
All right.
I'm
well,
excited
let's get
about it.
started.
Okay, our first recipe is a tofu pasta pie, and we're going to put those ingredients up on the board for you now. They're 8 ounces de Bowles angel hair pasta, cooked and drained. That's any flavor. 1 1/2 teaspoons salt divided. 2 tablespoons plus 4 1/2 teaspoons olive oil divided, 4 1/2 teaspoons energy egg replacer, 1/4 cup plus 1 tablespoon veggie topping, garlic herb flavor divided, 6 tablespoons of water, 2 cups broccoli florets, 1/2 cup red bell pepper chopped, 1/3 cup sweet onion chopped, 1 cup extra firm tofu crumbled, 3 tablespoons whole wheat pastry flour, 1 1/4 cup unsweetened West soy milk, and 1/2 teaspoon dill weed. Now I know that this is a little confusing because there's a lot of ingredients, but we have some that go in our crust, which is made out of pasta, and then some in our, like an Alfredo sauce, and then we have more ingredients in the veggies. So you're definitely going to want to write in for this recipe. So I think it'll be a little confusing, although we'll try and give it to you as well as we can. Let's start out by sauteing our veggies that are going to go into it. That way we can get that going over here.
Okay.
And for that we need our 1 tablespoon of olive oil, Linda. And you can just put in our veggies. We've got 2 cups of cauliflower and 2 cups of broccoli and 1/2 of a red pepper. I can turn this up. And we've got 1/3 cup of sweet onion and 1 cup of tofu crumbled. And
Is this the Morinu tofu?
this is Nasoya, the water-packed tofu.
Because there is a difference in the consistency between tofus.
Morinu is always silken, and it comes in the boxes. And you'd use that for pie or custard or pudding or whatever drink. You can put those in smoothies. And the water-packed tofu, which is what we put in here, comes usually in the cartons, although you can get silken like that too, to make it even more confusing for you who've never used tofu. But look for extra firm written on there, and then just drain the water off and then crumble that. So we'll let this start to, this is going to be our filling in the center of this. You just kind of want to sear this and get it just a little soft and brown. Oh, we have some salt to put in this, 1/2 teaspoon. And this is to taste. If you want a little more, a little less, it's fine. And this, and I've got this right down here, Linda, the garlic, the veggie, it's called veggie topping, which is a new Parmesan cheese, or style cheese. It's not actually Parmesan cheese. It tastes just like it. And I really like this. It's excellent. So. You're just going to saute this until you see it starting to brown and get just a little bit wilted, because you're not going to bake this again. You're just going to, we'll let that go. Okay, now let's put together our crust, and I'll let you do this. This is getting your hands dirty, Linda.
All right.
Okay. Now you need your, this is 1 box cooked, and okay, this will be okay. We're going to whisk together, and I have a little, oh, there it is. A little bowl. I've got a little sticky on me there. Okay. In a bowl, you want to whisk together your water, which is 6 tablespoons.
Okay.
And get this right. And your energy egg replacer. This is a powdered egg replacer, and I also have the box for this that you can use in recipes like muffins and cakes and things like that, where it tells you how to replace the eggs, you know, 1 for 1 in your recipe. This won't make an omelet for you, but it will hold together other types of foods like muffins and cookies and cakes and stuff.
And you probably pick this up at a health food store.
Health food store for this one.
Okay.
So very good. And let me give you a whisk. And you also want to whisk into that our olive oil, 1 tablespoon of the olive oil, and 1/2 teaspoon of the salt. And you're just going to pour that over our pasta, and then you're going to just kind of blend it in there with your hands. Or, you know, you can use a spoon if you want, but so far I've found hands work best. And we are very clean. We have washed our hands.
We have washed and sterilized our hands, right? So we're just going to toss it until it's all
yeah,
pretty
just
much
let so
covered.
that you can really feel that mixed all the way through. And then we're going to put in another 1/4 cup of our veggie topping. That'll kind of separate it a little bit. You can just get your hands in there.
See, that's going to make your fingers taste good when you get them out of there.
You can't lick them till we're all done. So once you get that completely, if you think you've got that really covered, we're going to put that into our quiche pan. Now this is a 11-inch.
Now, where in the world did you come up with the idea to have a pasta crust?
You know, I made these recipes so fast, I don't even remember where I got this idea.
So I just pour this in here?
Yeah, you pour this in here, and we're going to form a 1-inch, okay, I'll get my hands dirty now. You want this to form a 1-inch crust around the edge, okay, so you kind of have a little bit of a hollow in here. Okay, you can kind of see how, and then you're going to bake this, okay, at 300, I need that too, 350 degrees for 30 minutes. And once it's baked, Okay, it's crisped a little around the edges. By the way, I used tomato and basil de bowls pasta. They have a spinach and they have I think they have a lemon pepper one too, although I'm not big into pepper, but this is what it'll look like. Now, the next thing we're going to put in here is kind of our Alfredo sauce gravy, which we're going to make in this pan. And for that, you need to put in our 4½ teaspoons of olive oil.
Right
and that's
in here?
already, no, in here.
Okay.
I think this is a separate one. Turn this up. And just the flour and the salt. I guess we can put in our dill wheat now. So that's another ½ teaspoon of salt. And our, let's see, that was 3 tablespoons whole wheat pastry flour and ½ teaspoon of dill wheat. And once after that browns, we're going to add our West soy milk, which
And you're cooking this over medium heat?
yeah, kind of a medium heat. It's always hard for me to tell on electric because I'm not good with electric, I've got to tell you.
So you've got a gas stove.
I'm definitely a gas woman. Although you don't want to tell. Okay. 1¼ cups of West soy milk. But you want this to brown. That looks brown.
I think it's brown, yeah. Okay. The brown's pretty quick.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're just going to allow this to come to a boil and thicken.
As soon as it boils, it thickens, and we'll get it to where it's nice and saucy, and then we'll just pour it into the bottom part of our crust, and then we're going to top it with these veggies. And then you can, right before you want to serve it, heat it through in the oven for maybe 10 or 15 minutes, and just so that the whole thing is nice and hot. But you don't need to bake it again, and then it's ready to go.
Now tell me about the crust. What type of consistency is this crust going to be once it's baked? And
It's firm enough that it holds together, and so it's kind of like having veggie spaghetti, but in the shape of a pie. So it's unusual. I think you'll like it.
Makes a conversation piece, huh?
It sure does. And well, I get tired of trying to come up with things where you always have to make a pie dough because women don't have time to make pie crust. If you're like me, you do not have time to roll out pie crust. And so it's easy to throw spaghetti on, let it cook in the pot, throw it in there, bake it, and saute some veggies while you're waiting.
Okay,
That looks good.
right at a boil. So we're ready to pour this into the crust.
Let's bring that over here. So we really have a collection today. Okay. And I'm going to let you kind of use the back. Well, that's too big. Use the back of this and kind of spread it out as when it goes in here.
Okay.
So this is like your Alfredo sauce. And then our veggies, as you can see, have browned, and the tofu does too. It gets just a little brown look to it, and then you know it's done. And I'm going to give you this and let you, because this is kind of heavy. Yeah.
Oh,
And
that
hot.
is a pretty one.
And you want it right, yeah. Just fill up our center, stack that up.
Oh,
Very nice. And that is
very
our tofu
unusual
pasta pie.
recipe too.
Now you could, if you wanted to, you could either make more of the gravy, a second batch, or save some of that out to drizzle over. I think it's prettier with the gravy underneath and the veggies, the color of the veggies on top. So that's our tofu pasta pie, and we're off to our summer fruit charlotte. So, and Linda, would you like to read those ingredients for us?
You will need for the base 2 15-ounce cans of sliced peaches drained, a 16-ounce bag of frozen berry medley, 1/8 cup minute tapioca, 1 15-ounce canned pineapple tidbits drained, 1/4 cup Florida crystals or dehydrated cane juice, right? 1/2 teaspoon ground cinnamon. For the topping, you will need 1 4-ounce envelope of Mori New Mates vanilla pudding mix, 1 cup of silk soy milk vanilla, a 1/2 teaspoon ground cinnamon, 1/2 teaspoon vanilla, and 16 slices honey wheat whole wheat bread.
That was
almost that was a tongue twister.
Oh, that's funny. You know, a charlotte, for those people that don't know, is a baked something. It can be anything. It can be an entree or a dessert type of food that has bread around the top. That's what makes it a charlotte. So.
Oh. And it's sweet too, like
yeah. Oh,
sweet
it's good.
Charlotte.
Yeah.
I don't know where I've heard that before. Sweet Charlotte.
I'm going to do a recipe sometime that has a an entree that has like stewed tomatoes and I don't know, who knows. We'll come up with something, but it will also be a charlotte.
Be good.
That's right.
I guarantee it'll be good.
We'll start with our base first, and that's putting our fruit in here, Linda. You can put in your 1 can of peach or 2 cans of peach. What is it?
Did
yeah,
you
2
forget the
cans.
recipe?
Yes, I haven't memorized it. 2 cans of peaches, and oh, I know this is what I want. And
pineapple.
the pineapple tidbits. That's 1 15-ounce can. Don't mind me. And this is the berry medley, and I just want you to know that if you don't have berry medley in your store, you need to.
I need you.
Here, let's get a spoon. If you can't find your berry medley in the store,
Did we say they were frozen?
oh yeah, we did. You're gonna lose a few on the table. Let's see if we can get this out. It takes 4 cups of mixed fruit, like blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, and blackberries, which is what I did.
That one's for you, Tammy.
Here, let's set this down and chip at it this way. There we go.
Okay.
Flying. So,
All right.
your freezer works very well, I feel like.
Thank you.
Okay, so you need 16 ounces. So luckily for me, I had a handy dandy scale this morning. I weighed everything out, but it's exactly 1 cup of each of those things. So you said you wanted cooking that was from our kitchen. This is cooking from our kitchen. So go ahead and just mix those up.
Okay.
I'll give you some spoons this time.
Okay.
And
I didn't want to get frostbite on my hands.
And also we have a 1/4 cup of milled cane. And this is different from sucanat in that sucanat, you've seen me use it a lot in recipes, has blackstrap molasses added back to it. This does not. This is just the evaporated cane that's been crystallized. So it looks, if you have a recipe where you want a sweetener that's more like regular white sugar would be, although this has nutrients in it that white sugar does not and has not been refined in that way.
You know what I read? I was reading a book recently, and it actually said that sugar was considered a drug because it had absolutely no food value whatsoever.
None.
There's no vitamins, there's no minerals. You put that sugar in your body, it's only gonna do harm.
Right. Well, you know, God put the sugar in the sugar cane, but when you eat sugar cane, to get 1 teaspoon of sugar, I don't know how many feet it is that you would have to actually chew to get that 1 teaspoon. And now we Americans eat around 150 pounds of sugar per year per person. So, not good for you at all. So this is our minute tapioca. You can toss that in there too.
Okay.
And that is 1/8 cup. And we have some cinnamon that needs to go in here too.
Oh, that's a pretty one too.
Oh, this tastes very nice. If you like bread pudding but with a twist, I think you'll really like this nice brunch recipe. You're kind of in the mood for. Okay, now we're going to put this again into a quiche pan. Oh, we want to save out a cup for our topping. Grab that cup right there.
Okay.
And
I know you've mentioned this before, but why do you like to use the stoneware?
of course, because I like the best, Linda. So did we get all that out? Okay. This stoneware is so great to bake in because it doesn't burn my food. I mean, I obviously could burn it if I really tried, but when I look at it, I know that it's the same color on both sides, unlike other baking dishes. So when you start cooking for a lot of people, and even if you're just want to bake for your family and you're tired of ruining things, stoneware is the way to go.
Okay.
Okay, now what you do next is whisk up our topping. So you can take your cup of soy milk, and that's Silk. Oh, I love this new soy milk. They have finally made a soy milk I can drink by the glassful. I love it so much.
All right.
So,
well, you know, soy is becoming so popular.
it is.
Which is wonderful because
They're finally learning the benefits.
It's so good for you.
Oh, I need to be doing my job. That was a cup of soy milk, a half a teaspoon of cinnamon, a half a teaspoon of vanilla, and this is 1 package of Mori New Mates.
We should probably show
vanilla
this.
pudding mix.
And this is Mori New Mates, and you can purchase this at a health food store. Some of the larger chain stores are carrying products like this now, which we are very happy about.
Speaking of which, I just went into a Kroger store this last week, and they have a really nice health food section there. And the guy was getting ready to reorder a lot of things, and so I asked him, could I, suggest a few things that they carry? And he said, sure, I'd really be happy if you do that. So I went down through the list. They're getting carob chips, they're getting sucanat, they're getting Florida crystals. I mean, all the things that I want in my store and in my kitchen. So I thought that was so neat. So you can find stores where you can go in, and sometimes they're happy, really happy, like this young man was, to order what you request. So don't give up, be persistent. So this is our topping. Is that whisking up for you? And it gets a little, you'll see it get a little thick. Now, this is the gooey part. We're not going to do all of this. You'll get the idea, and then we'll show you the finished product. But you need a loaf of honey whole wheat bread, not the really soft whole wheat bread that you get at the grocery store, but you can either bake some of your own, or you can, if you have a really nice bread store like we do in town, take it. You need 16 slices. They actually had sliced this on the thin setting. You really don't want it on the thin setting. It's a little harder to work with, but I've just cut it down to, what would you say it is? 3-inch by 3-inch square?
3-inch by 3-inch.
Okay. And so you're going to take your pastry brush. By the way, if you taste this tastes just like Apple Jack cereal right now.
Really?
And I'm going to come up with some kind of either baked grape nuts or granola or something for kids that tastes like Apple Jacks to replace the the sugar cereals.
Sure. Oops. French toast. You can also make make French toast out of this recipe, right?
We did actually for lunch today. We used the rest of it, made French toast. It was great. So, well, let's just do that since it'll be faster, and you can kind of, I just want you to get the idea of how you overlap these. But I just brushed this on, and then we have a finished one that you can see. Whoops, it does fall apart though, like that. This is the finished Charlotte. And what I did was, after I went around with your 16 slices, I took the cup of fruit, because it'll be lower in the center, and then just put that in there, and then you bake that at, I believe, 375 for 30 minutes, and then you reduce the temperature to 325 and bake it additional 15. But this is really good.
Oh, it smells wonderful. So you serve this warm?
Yes, I would serve this one warm. So.
Great.
Okay, we're off to our next recipe. We are going to make a dill potato salad. And this recipe, Linda, is a favorite of my family's. My husband hates egg to begin with, and so does Claudia, my best friend from Florida. So this does not have egg in it, and I think you'll like it. So those ingredients for you are 6 cups of cubed potatoes that have been cooked, 3/4 cup veggies, 1 tablespoon prepared mustard, 2 tablespoons sweet relish, 1 teaspoon salt, 1/8 teaspoon cayenne pepper, and a scant 1/2 cup of fresh dill minced.
Sounds like a winner.
This is a good recipe, but to make it really good, Linda, you want this one to sit in the refrigerator overnight and let all the flavors blend. So
not the freezer.
Not the freezer. You just want to put it in the fridge, and it tastes wonderful the next day. So go ahead and take our 6 cups of cubed potatoes and put them in our bowl, and then go ahead and do our veggies next. That's 3/4 cup, and this is the wonderful vegan mayonnaise. I love this. You'll want to get that.
Where could they
all
purchase
out.
this? Now, this is an unusual mayonnaise because it has no eggs.
Right. You can find this in the cooler at your health food store, and if they're not carrying it, you can contact me, and I'll help you get the phone number so you can contact them directly. I would be glad to help you do that. So, and then let's see, we want to put in our 2 tablespoons of sweet relish, and our 1 tablespoon of mustard. And we have 1 teaspoon of salt. Doing very good.
Now mustard, people think of it as a weed, but it's really a flower.
Wow, you know.
I was talking to a lady recently, and she says, you know, a lot of flowers are edible.
Yes,
Did you know that?
they are.
And they're very good for you.
Mhm.
I never thought about
Well, when you
eating a
think
flower.
about vegetables, you know, they all have flowers on them when they, you know, like even zucchini blossoms and things like that, you know,
That's
in
true.
gourmet restaurants.
Yeah.
So, you know, God put neat things out there for us to eat.
Yeah.
So, okay, put our teaspoon of salt in, and you can leave out your cayenne pepper, but it doesn't make it too bitey. That's 1/8 of a teaspoon. And I do this mostly for my husband. I don't think that can. Just shake it in with your finger.
Okay.
It must have been
nobody-
humid upstairs today.
Somebody poured some glue in there.
Now, I looked at every store around town and I couldn't find any fresh dill weed, so we're putting in half the amount in dried. So we are actually putting in 1/4 of a cup of dried dill weed, which is even more reason to let this salad sit overnight in your refrigerator.
But the fresh, you're saying, is much better.
Oh, I love fresh dill. It is so good. It has got to be good for you. I should just look it up in one of my health magazines and see everything that dill does for you. It's got to be gobs and gobs. But this salad is such a hit. I mean, I take this everywhere and never get it. You know how it is when you make something for potluck and you're standing in line just hoping for a little scoop? This is one of those things that gets eaten up right away.
By the time you get there, it's gone.
You got it. Now, I was thinking that if you're making this for a bridal shower brunch or some kind of special Mother's Day or any kind of event, I thought it would be really pretty. Now, you wouldn't do this if you had more than, say, 20 or 25 people to serve, but to make a little tomato cup where you use a V-shaped cutter around the top and hollow it out and put a little bit of potato salad in there. So let's spoon a little in there and see what that looks like, because I thought this would be a nice serving dish. It would make the ladies feel special.
That is
And
pretty.
you can get about a regular portion. So you would do. So, well, I guess it doesn't look so good, but I think that makes a nice cup. Or to make it a little easier, you could just cut a really big tomato in thick slices, and you would want to lightly salt the inside of your tomato, I think, especially if they're
And if
gonna
you're
eat that.
feeling really fussy that day, you can take a piece of that tomato that you cut out and make a little heart because you're at a bridal shower.
There you go. That would be a nice idea.
Yes.
So but you can cut it in thick slices and then just put a scoop on top of the slice itself, which would go a lot faster than making the actual cups. So that is our...
That looks great.
So I was going to
that
make
with
one,
it.
but I think you can get the idea. And we have recipes we just really want you to get. So let's move on to our crispy asparagus straws. This again is another excellent hors d'oeuvre type of veggie recipe. And the ingredients for those are very simple. You'll need 24 thick asparagus spears, and you can get any color, 6 sheets of phyllo dough thawed, salt, 1/4 cup of veggie topping, garlic herb flavor, and you'll need a little canola oil spray. Now these are real pretty, Linda, and I mean it's a finger food that's going to go fast.
Look what a neat recipe this is. We'll have to get a close-up of
They
this.
they're so good because they're pretty simple to make, and there's only a few ingredients in them. So we're going to show you how to make those now.
Crispy asparagus.
Straws. Oh, they're wonderful. Now you need phyllo dough, but you only need 6 sheets. We're just going to show you how to do a couple here. But when you work with phyllo, you want to, let me move this over here, work with it quickly, and you want to have a wet or a damp towel and some saran wrap handy to cover it back up with because it dries out fast. Now we're not going to do that. Now the first thing you do is take your asparagus, and you want thick ones because they'll hold up in the oven better, and then you're going to steam them for 2 minutes. Make sure you've got your water boiling first. Put them in a steamer basket, set a timer, 2 minutes, take them out and rinse them with cold water, and then dry them with paper towels. And then you want to get your phyllo dough out. Let's see if we can do this without... Phyllo dough and puff pastry sheets I think we're invented to keep people humble. They're very unpredictable. And then you're just going to lightly spray it with a little oil. And if you wanted to use olive oil here, you could. Okay, nothing too big. And then you're going to cut it in 4 even rectangles. I'll pull this down. Let me turn this. Okay, now just separate that. You've got 2. I'm going to show you how to do one, then you're going to do one for us. Now, you take your asparagus and you want it to hang out over the end, so you want this to use the short side though. So let me get my short side here. About 3/4 of an inch. Now you want a salt shaker and just lightly salt. That might have been a little bit too much. And then half a teaspoon of your veggie, garlic and herb flavored Parmesan cheese replacement, and then you just roll them up. Now, when you get to the end, just dab your finger in some water. You do not need egg and egg whites to make things stick, and that's all there is to rolling that up. Okay?
You know, that looks like a real fussy recipe, but it's really not
Very
too
simple.
bad.
Unfortunately, you need to make it pretty close to when you're going to serve it. You can do this and put them on a tray and leave them for 2 to 3 hours, but then you've got to bake them. So you can make them ahead and then just stick them in. You're going to bake these at a high temperature. It's let's see, under my phyllo dough here, 450. And you're going to actually line them up on the cooking sheet and put a little piece of foil over them so you don't get the tips too burned. You want them nice and browning like we showed you before what we had. And let's have you roll one up for us.
Okay.
And I'll roll up another one too. So it's just asparagus, salt. I'll put and then Parmesan.
Veggie Parmesan.
And then you roll it up. If you do make them up and they get soggy, you can just put them back in the oven again for another 9 minutes. Originally it takes anywhere from 9 to 11 minutes to bake these at 450. They do bake up quickly. They're so pretty and it's simple, really good, really nice chick food.
Yeah.
So.
You know, and this is something simple enough the kids would love to get involved and do this for you. So.
Oh, sure. Nathan would love to get his hands on some of this phyllo dough.
Sure.
We have a wonderful pastry though, some Danish braids. So let's show them the Danish braids now. I'm really excited about this one. Of course I am for all the desserts. You're going to need 8 ounces of tofutti, better than cream cheese, a 1/4 cup Florida crystals, 3/4 of a teaspoon almond extract, 1 1/2 teaspoon energy egg replacer, 1 tablespoon water, 1 box puff pastry sheets thawed, 1/4 cup black raspberry all fruit jam divided. For the streusel, you're going to need 1/3 cup whole wheat pastry flour, 2 tablespoons of sucanat, 2 tablespoons of chopped almonds, 1 tablespoon of canola oil, and 1 tablespoon of water.
Well, this is a recipe from my Danish heritage.
And and the Germans, they do things like this too. It's wonderful. So I love this stuff.
Well, maybe what we should do is show the finished product first so our viewers can see where we're going.
And I'm going to show you how to make 2 different braids. This is the very easy, simple way to braid it, and this is for those of you that like a challenge. It's not tough, it's just
fussy.
Yeah, it's fussy. So, oh, they're so good. You're going to like this. Let's start with our filling, Linda. I'm going to have you put this right in the food processor. Just twist right off here and just put in our, let me give you a spatula. That's 8 ounces of tofutti. You can use the soy sauce cream cheese, imitation cream cheese too. And you can get this at a health food store. You're going to blend this and our...
People might be asking, well, what's the difference between health food store cheese, cream cheese, and regular cream cheese?
Well, that's a good question. There's no dairy in tofutti cream cheese. There's still calories and there's still fat. So what we're trying to do is take something that you would that's a better for you and combine those ingredients and show you that you can still make wonderful tasting food without the dairy products and without all of the saturated fat and things like that. So.
But we probably should say this, that you probably don't want to eat this every day, 3 times a day.
No, right. Moderation in all things.
That's right.
Even though you're going to want to. Okay, let's put our milled cane crystals. That's 1/4 cup.
That must be that humidity again. Okay.
Oh, it was warm here today, wasn't it?
Well, I'll begin with that frozen medley. It didn't want to come
I'll
out
tell
of
you.
there.
Yeah, that got me right away. One of these is our water. Here, our almond extract is right there. Yeah, we don't want to put the water in. And you can actually, let's see. Now this is a tablespoon of water, and this is our energy egg replacer again. So we're just gonna, we want to mix these two together. Let me use, I can use this. So you can tell we're towards the end. We're running out of.
Running out of time.
Yeah, running out of
Tools.
Well, yeah, tools. Okay. And just put this in there, and then it'll blend out any little lumps that you have left. And this actually will work as the thickener. Okay, go ahead and put the top on. Let's see. And just give that, you want to blend that up till it begins to
How do you put the
dissolve.
top on?
Let's see. This has to lock in place. Did that do it?
I think so. I might have it on backwards, but
Okay, go ahead and
It'll work.
press the button and up. Oh, it did. Good. Okay, let's stir down the side, and then let's do that one more time. Okay. Okay, just one more time, not too long.
okay.
Almost. Wait, let's turn
We
this down.
lost our-
This thing is, okay, turn that off. That's good. Okay, that's all we need out of that. Now you can actually go ahead and use the spatula and scrape that back into this bowl. I think it'll all fit. There's only a little over a cup there. And we're going to mix up our streusel topping, which is 1/3 cup of whole wheat pastry flour. And we have 2 tablespoons of sucanat, and this is the sugar cane that's had blackstrap molasses added back to it. 2 tablespoons of chopped almonds. We have, let me mix that up just a touch. Of course, I've run out of spoons. Let's see, I can use this. And this is just like your any kind of crumble topping. But to make it lower fat, we just have 1 tablespoon of canola oil in here and 1 tablespoon of water. Because you know, 1 tablespoon of fat is 14 grams. So, and 14 grams times 9 adds up to a lot of calories. So anywhere you can cut calories, especially fat calories, you know, we want to do that. So that's our streusel topping. Now for the fun part. You can make a braid. We'll set that aside and I'll make a braid. We're going to use our puff pastry sheets before I get that on myself. You know how we love to wear aprons.
Actually, you know, this is another so-called fussy recipe, but it's really not that difficult.
No, this is a very simple recipe. You want to keep these refrigerated until you're ready to use them. We made the mistake once before of not doing that. I think we could actually do this on, well, I don't know. I'm not going to risk it. I'll do this one and then you can do the second one. Okay, you just want to open this up. You're going to take half of your cream cheese mixture, which is a little over 1/2 cup, and you're going to spread this down the center. And I'm getting ahead of myself, so I'm going to backtrack 1 step and cut this for our braid. You want to make 1-inch cuts along here. And I'm going to show you 2 different braids on the same same one. And then I just try and match them on this side. Sometimes I have 8, sometimes I have 9. So we'll see. Okay, now you want to put 2 tablespoons of your jam down the, let's spread this out. Doesn't that look good? Mm-hmm. You just want a little bit down the center. You don't need a lot of this. So when it cooks up, oh, it just really bubbles up in there. Now for the simple braid, the one that I showed you, and this looks really nice too, you just pull one across and then you pull the other, just like you would normally braid somebody's hair. Now I'm going to go to the little more complicated braid because I want to show you both of them on. You pull it over, but when you pull it, you twist it and over. So you pull and twist one turn, pull, twist like that. And that shows your filling a little bit more. But you don't want to cut too close to the edges or your filling will run out when it's baking. So which one are you going to make, Linda?
I'll probably
tackle
the easy one first.
Okay. And then tuck this end under, and that'll kind of hold it in. And then I'll take a little out at this top and then pinch this up here. Squeeze that because you don't want your filling to run out. Mm-hmm. Okay, now you do one.
Okay. So you don't want to get too close.
No, about an inch apart. I kind of hogged the room there, didn't I?
And actually, when the dough is this cold, it's really easy to handle.
Mm-hmm. Can make these up. And you know, you really could make this into 3 braids. If you got an extra box, you really have enough filling. You could do 1/3 of a cup in the center of each braid instead of a 1/2 a cup, and it would be just as tasty. But for sake of making it not so complicated, you know, since there are 2 sheets and 1 box of puff pastry, we're going with the 1 box. You can easily extend it.
What you were mentioning earlier is the taste of the tofu cream cheese tastes totally different after it's been baked.
Yes, it loses the little bit of after taste. It's little. I don't care to taste it straight out of the carton. It doesn't have a real cream cheese taste. So if you get it and put it on a bagel, you'll say, it's not exactly cream cheese, but that's okay. If you use it in a recipe where you're cooking, it tastes more like cream cheese, and you really can do a lot with it in the oven. So.
Now my grandma actually used to make kringle almost every time that we went over there as kids. So this is kind of a little.
I'm going to grab our in front of you. Excuse my reach. Our streusel topping. Did your grandma feed you that all the time, every time you went there?
Just about.
No wonder you like it so much.
She was definitely a baker and a cook, and one of those typical grandmas that just love to spoil the grandkids.
Oh.
And I just have precious, precious memories of her.
Grandmas leave a lot of good memories.
Yes, they
My
do.
grandmother definitely has. Well, this looks great. You're going to want to bake this, Linda, at, let's see, I've lost it, 400 degrees for 25 minutes. And then you're going to reduce the temperature to 375 or 350 and bake an additional 20. So we have one more thing we want to show you quickly because we are running out of time. But let's go on. I really want to show them how to make ice bowls, and you can get the recipe for the tea another time. So let's show you the ice bowls. Those ingredients or the materials you'll need are 2 different size glasses, plastic or stainless steel bowls, fresh herbs, edible flowers or citrus slices, tape, chopstick, or skewer.
Now this is really neat. We need to get a close-up of these bowls. How did you make them?
Ice bowls are very simple, although you do need to be careful. I did break my first bowl using a glass one and I taped it too tightly, but we're going to quickly show you how to make them. But these bowls, Linda, are so versatile because you can put a dip in here or something that you want to keep cold and then just put it on a tray with a linen to absorb any drips. This one you would use for like sorbets and things like that. So, but they're really quite simple. You need one bowl that's about a ½ inch to an inch smaller than the other. We're just going to do this really quickly. You're going to put down, you know, you can put pansies in here, parsley.
Fruit.
I've got parsley and radish in one, and you just, you know, put this around. Then you put your next bowl on top of it. You've got to tape it, so help me tape the sides. And you want it, you do, so that it holds it down in 4 places. Then you're going to fill the edge with water to within a ½ inch at the top, and some of these will float around and you can kind of, you know, put them in place with your chopstick and just freeze it. And after it freezes, take this off and it sits out for 15 minutes and you're done.
Awesome.
So,
well, we're going to put your address up on the screen. If you would like to contact Barbara and find out more about her brand new cookbook, and let me tell you, it's an awesome cookbook, you can write to her at Taste of Health, P.O. Box 38, Gaston, South Carolina 29053. Thank you, Barbara, for being our guest today. God bless you, and until next time, may the Lord richly bless you abundantly more than you could ever ask or think.
Thank you for being our family.
Thank you for being our friends.
May God bless and keep